Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I am Joey Francess, your life, love, and relationship coach. Thank you so much for joining me. Dating while healing. Now, here's the thing. This is even something that I perpetuated in my past, where I would tell people that you should be fully healed prior to putting yourself out there, prior to having someone else enter your life. And the thing is, I don't think that anymore. You don't need to be fully healed to date, I don't think anymore. I have done a lot of thinking about this. You do absolutely need to be honest and transparent about who you are, where you are. And I mean, I've said it a billion times and I'll say it a billion more: communication and acceptance, right? So if you're transparent and you communicate such things and you're telling somebody like, hey, listen, I'm still in this process. And it's up to them to accept it, right? Because the funny thing is, I had someone come to me and they're like, Joey, like I really want to meet someone, but I'm still working through some stuff. Am I allowed to date? She's like, should I? And it really made me think, because knowing this person, knowing the things that they've been through, knowing everything that they've told me, and knowing the type of person that they are, and that they are a good communicator and they are self-aware, it's like, I don't think that it's a problem in reality, provided that you are honest with people. You need to know what's safe and what's not. Because dating while healing isn't about pretending that you're ready or convincing yourself that you're ready. It's about knowing what you're ready for. And I can even hark back to my very first episode of knowing what you are ready for. And literally the whole episode's about that. And I know the audio and that's so crap, but my apologies. It was my first episode, figuring shit out, right? But nonetheless, there is this idea that is floating around where you should only date once you are fully healed. And the thing is, at least from the thinking that I've done and going through it all, healing doesn't necessarily have a finish line. It's not like you wake up one morning and you stretch and you're like, okay, I'm good. I'm done. I'm good. I'm perfect. I'm healed. Let's go date. Let's go find love. Healing is layered. It's ongoing. It's messy. And the funny thing is, sometimes the right relationships can actually support your healing. Again, if you're honest about where you are and who you are and everything that you're going through. And I even mentioned this when we were talking about relationship types or styles. People that are avoidant or people that are anxious, and being with somebody who is secure, and how being with that secure person can lead to healing or other people becoming secure instead of being anxious or avoidant. And here's the thing. There are some problems if you're waiting until you're fully healed. Because at what time do you say to yourself, I'm fully healed? Do you ever feel ready? You'll keep postponing connection because then you'll think that you're not fully healed or that you're not ready for it. You'll convince yourself that love is something you earn after you've fixed yourself. But the thing is that if you're always looking for problems, you're always going to find problems. That's kind of the way the world works. What you focus on, you will find. And, I've said that in a lot of contexts prior, even when it comes to dating and finding somebody. If you want a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you can find one very, very easily. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, yeah, it's really hard out there to find. No, if you want one, you can find one. Now, is it going to be the right one? That's a different story. And this is my point. The thing is that you're not broken. You're just carrying history. And history does not necessarily disqualify you from love. What disqualifies you is pretending you're fine when you're not. Because then you end up performing and you give yourself to the lie. You try to fit someone else's ideals, and in that, losing yourself. And this is sort of continuing on from the past couple of episodes in regards to that. So instead of asking yourself, am I healed enough to date? Ask yourself this. Do I know what I need to feel safe right now? Can I communicate that clearly to someone new? Am I willing to move slowly, even if the chemistry is intense and feels fast? And the thing is, if you can answer yes to those questions, then maybe dating while you're healing is actually an option. Dating while healing isn't pretending you're fine. It's about learning the lessons that keep you honest with yourself and with every single person you meet. And there's 4 lessons that I want you to think about and to carry into every connection you have. So lesson number 1, honesty is safer than pretending. And let's start with the hardest truth. When you're healing and you hide it, you're not just lying to the other person, you're lying to yourself. Really think about this. You tell them that you're fine, that you're ready, that you're good to go. But inside, you know that you're carrying grief or fear or anger. And then that's when 2 lies start happening at once. You lying to them and you lying to yourself. And here's the problem with that. When you lie to them, you can't connect who you really are because you're essentially hiding yourself. They're connecting with a version of you that doesn't exist. You're trying to meet their ideals. And when you lie to yourself like that, you cut off your own healing. You convince yourself that you don't need rest, that you don't need space, that you don't need honesty. That essentially what this person does is perfectly fine, even if it means they're treating you badly, because you're trying to fit their ideal. You're trying to fit this lie that you're okay. And that double lie is extremely, extremely dangerous because it doesn't just block intimacy, it blocks your growth. And instead of pretending, try saying, I'm in healing mode. I'm open to connections, but I move slowly. And this is the thing, that's your truth. And if you can't be self-aware to that, then you're not ready to date while healing. Now, here are some questions that you can ask yourself that can help you figure this out. Where am I pretending I'm fine? And when am I not? What truths about my healing am I afraid to say out loud? How does lying to myself show up in the way I date? What would it take? What would it feel like to be fully honest, even if it scares me? And I'll give you an example. So a friend of mine kept saying that she was over her ex. She told every new guy that she was fine. She was ready. She was good to go. But the truth is that she wasn't. She was still carrying anger and she was still carrying grief from that past relationship. So every time she dated, she was essentially lying twice. She lied to them, giving them a version of herself that wasn't real. And she lied to herself, pretending that she didn't need more time. It wasn't until she admitted to somebody, I'm still healing. I want to connect, but I want to do it slowly, that things shifted. And suddenly, she wasn't exhausted. She wasn't pretending. She was being honest. And that guy that she essentially said that to respected it. So here's the lesson. Honesty is safer than pretending. Because when you lie to someone else, you lose their trust. And when you lie to yourself, you lose your own. Dating while healing isn't about being perfect. It's about being truthful. And the truth is, the only strong enough and the truth is the only thing strong enough to build connection is essentially being honest. And like, that's the thing at the end of the day. Because if you are putting yourself out there looking for a relationship, communication and acceptance, being transparent, being honest. Lesson 2, boundaries protect your excitement. So here's the truth. Chemistry is really just excitement. That rush you feel when you meet someone new. The butterflies, the spark, the adrenaline. It's excitement. And excitement, it's beautiful. It's what makes dating fun. But excitement without boundaries is where people get lost. Because when you let excitement run the show, you start ignoring the red flags, rushing intimacy, and calling chaos a connection. Boundaries don't kill excitement. They harness it. They protect it. If someone's pace feels too fast, slow it down. Slow it down. Remember, you're part of this relationship, right? It's not just about meeting someone at their standards. It's also them meeting you at yours. And if they can't meet you at yours, then there's nothing there. As we spoke about over the past couple of weeks, it's about choosing, not being chosen. And if you're giving more than you're receiving, someone's not matching your energy, maybe it's time you step back. If excitement starts to feel like anxiety, then you definitely need to check in with yourself. Excitement is only sustainable when it's paired with safety. When someone makes you feel safe, gives you the place, essentially, to be yourself. And the right person is not going to punish you for you protecting your pace or protecting your peace. They'll respect it. And if they don't respect it, you know where to send them. So I have some more questions for you to ask yourself before you know you're ready. When has excitement led me to ignore my own needs? What boundaries help me enjoy the spark without losing myself? How do I know the difference between healthy excitement and anxious energy? What's one way I can slow down excitement without shutting it off? And here's another story for you. So a client told me about a guy she met who swept her off her feet. She said the spark was undeniable. She felt excited every time she saw his name pop up on her phone. But within days, he was pushing for more time, more intimacy, more commitment. Her excitement started to feel like pressure. Old her would have ignored it. Would have called it passion. She would have just figured that this guy's really into her and she would have ate that up. But healing is a set boundary. I move slow. If you can't respect that, we're not aligned. And that's essentially what she said to him. And guess what? He disappeared. Sure, it sucked, but it also saved her months of confusion. It saved her from her losing herself to try to fit his ideals and do everything the way that he wants it done. Because boundaries don't scare away the right person, they filter out the wrong ones. It's literally doing what they're supposed to do. Funny enough, I literally had a conversation with a friend of mine, I think it was last week, and talking about something similar to this. We're talking more about dating fatigue and being single. And I said to her, I'm happy being single. It's fine. Obviously, I want to find somebody, but I'm happy being single. And the thing is, being single and not dating a billion people is literally my boundaries protecting me, doing exactly what they're supposed to do. They're keeping me out of relationships that are not going to serve me. And that's what's going on here in this story. That's what you essentially should remind yourself to when you are single and you do want someone, that it's hey, wait a minute, my boundaries are keeping me in a good, healthy place. They're keeping me away from those people who are toxic or not, going to serve me properly. Boundaries protect excitement, because attraction without safety isn't intimacy, it's instability. And healing means you don't chase sparks, you're protecting your peace, so the excitement that you have with someone, that connection, that chemistry, can actually potentially grow into something. But that's only gonna, again, take time. Lesson 3. Slow is fast. So here's the paradox. When you're healing, going slow actually makes you go faster. Because rushing doesn't speed up connection, it actually speeds up disaster. But slowing down, that's what helps you heal faster, see clearer, and build something that lasts. Now, think about it. When you start to rush, you skip steps, you ignore red flags, or you might not even see them, and you confuse intensity with intimacy. And then you end up wasting months, even years, on someone who was never truly aligned with you. But when you move slow, you notice the details. You ask better questions. You give yourself space to breathe. And you pace yourself. That saves you time in the long run. Because you're finally getting to know someone. You aren't just living off of the excitement, living off that chemistry. Because chemistry alone isn't enough. Slow is fast because it keeps you from repeating the same mistakes. Slow is fast because it lets you heal while you get to actually connect with someone. Slow is fast because it builds trust instead of testing it. I have some more questions for you to ask yourself to see if you are ready to date while healing. When in my past did rushing cost me more time than it saved? How would moving slower actually help me to heal faster? What's one way I can slow down without shutting down? And how can I remind myself that patience is progress? Now, another story for you. This is about a man that I worked with, and he had just gone through a divorce. He was very, very eager to get back out there dating. You know, the dating apps, dinners, late night texts, anything just to fill that silence that he was feeling at night. But every time he rushed into a new connection, he felt drained. He wasn't healing. He was essentially distracting himself from the fact that he needed to heal. So he tried something different. He slowed down. Instead of stacking dates, he limited himself to one conversation at a time. Instead of rushing into intimacy, he gave himself weeks to talk, to listen, to notice how he felt. And here's what happened. By slowing down, he healed faster. He stopped repeating old patterns. He stopped wasting energy on people who weren't aligned. Within months, he felt more grounded than he had in years, not because he found the one, but because he found himself again. I've said it before, I'm pretty sure, that if you don't like the company when you're alone, how do you expect someone else to like that company? Right? And this is sort of like the case of this guy where I'm trying to tell him that, where it's like, hey, listen, you don't need to rush with somebody. You don't need to have someone there. If you cannot be with yourself, then you can't be with someone else. I don't care how cliche it is. If you can't love yourself, you can't love somebody else. All these things are true. If you cannot be by yourself, how do you expect someone to be alone with you? And this is part of it. Slowing down. Realizing that you don't necessarily need someone there. Again, I'm not telling you to stop talking to people or stop dating, even though that probably would have been best in this situation. But nonetheless, slowing down was also an option. And then within a matter of months, he started getting it. That, you know what? He didn't need somebody. He wanted somebody, but he didn't need somebody. Which has allowed him to walk away from those who aren't serving him. Those who are not good options. Those who are toxic. Because by slowing down, he healed faster. He He stopped repeating old patterns. He stopped wasting energy on people that weren't aligned. Within months, he found more grounded than he had in years. Not because he found the one, but because he found himself again. Didn't I already read that? I already read that. Jesus, I got to get better at reading and writing down scripts. But anyways, my apologies. That's the paradox, though. Slow is fast. Because when you move at your own pace, you're not just protecting your heart, you're accelerating your healing. You're speeding everything up when it comes to healing because you're listening to yourself. You're protecting yourself. You're being with yourself. So the lesson is slow is fast, because rushing isn't proof you're ready. It's proof you can't handle being with yourself. It's proof you're running from the silence, from the aches, from the pains you don't want to face. But when you slow down and stop running, you sit with yourself, you deal with the pain, and that's what actually heals you faster, because you're essentially attacking the things that are wrong. The right person won't demand your sprint. The right person will hopefully walk beside you, and together you'll learn that the fastest way to love is to move slowly. Lesson number 4. Awareness is your superpower. Awareness isn't just knowing, it's noticing, it's practicing, it's choosing to pay attention when it would be easier to drift back into old patterns. It's being self-aware. Here's the truth. When you're healing, awareness is the skill that saves you, because awareness lets you catch the lies you tell yourself, the red flags you would rather ignore, and the signals that your body whispers before your mind catches up. Awareness is your superpower when you practice it in 3 ways. With your body, noticing how you feel around someone. Are you calm? Are you tense? Are you grounded? Or are you anxious? Your body often tells the truth before your mind does. Their patterns. Don't just listen to what somebody says to you. Track what they do. Awareness means watching for consistency. And your reflection. After every interaction, ask yourself, did I feel like myself more or less with this person? Am I doing something to appease them, or am I doing something that's true to myself? Awareness isn't paranoia, it's presence. And I know that's like a huge one, because there's so many of you out there that get into like situations or relationships, and you want to ask the deep questions, you want to get in depth with somebody. And the thing is that you start to back off and think like, hey, am I being too much? Do I need to slow down here? Maybe this person isn't going to appreciate that. I don't think you should. I think you should do it if you feel like you need to do it. That's you being present. That's you being interested in somebody, right? So a man I coached had the habit of falling for women who were exciting but very unavailable. Every time that he would meet these women, he would ignore the signs, the inconsistent communication, the vague answers about the future, the way he tightened his gut tightened after every date, the way that he would feel anxious. But one day he decided to pay attention. He decided to slow down. He asked better questions and listened to his body. And within 2 weeks, he realized that the girl that he was dating wasn't emotionally available. She wasn't giving him essentially what he wanted or what he needed from a relationship. Now, the thing is old him would have stayed, hoping that the situation got better, hoping that she would eventually open up and, be the person that he wanted her to be. But the funny thing is that healing him walked away. And here's the twist. He didn't feel regret after it. He didn't feel like shit. He wasn't anxious. He felt relief, because awareness saved him months, maybe even years. Well, not years, because these girls would just come and go. But it saved him months of pain, of trying to pull something out of somebody that he would never have gotten. So here's the lesson. Awareness is your superpower. Because rushing isn't proof you're ready. It's proof you can't handle being with yourself. But awareness, that's proof you're awake. Awareness is what lets you face the truth even when it hurts. It's what keeps you from lying to yourself. It's what turns dating from distraction into connection. And when you're healing, awareness is the bridge between your past and your future. It's the difference between repeating the same story or writing a new one. And this goes beyond like somebody that's healing, because I honestly believe we all need to be self-aware, especially when it comes to the dating world. We've talked about honesty, boundaries, pace, and awareness. But the truth is that nobody tells you that you'll never feel fully ready. Well, some of you won't. And that's okay. Dating culture loves to sell you this idea of readiness. And the funny thing is like, I added to that too. I did. That one day you'll wake up healed and confident and perfect. You know, if you journal, if you look deep into yourself, if you reflect on your past relationships, that it's going to make you ready. It's going to make you like perfect, ready to go. And the truth is that it might not. And that's okay. Because I think readiness, when you really think about it, it's a myth. Because healing isn't a finish line. It's a process. And waiting until we're 100% ready often becomes another way of avoiding intimacy, of avoiding growth, avoiding the discomfort of being seen while you're still in progress, or while you think you're still in progress, because that's the other part too. There's a lot of people out there that are healed, but they don't believe it. Doesn't matter what I say, doesn't matter what their friends say. They don't think that they're ready. And it's a matter, okay, well, if you don't think you're ready and you're stuck on that opinion, but at the same time, you do want someone, you do want to grow, you do want a relationship, well, you're between a rock and a hard place. What are you going to do? You don't need to be fully healed to date. You need to be honest where you are, bounded enough to protect your space, slow enough to notice alignment, and aware enough to choose differently. And that is what ready looks like. Ask yourself, I know I'm asking you a lot of questions this week. Where am I waiting for perfect readiness before I allow myself to connect? How does the myth of readiness keep me stuck in fear? How would it look like to date as practice, not proof? How can I honor my healing without hiding behind it? And I'll give you an example. There was a man who kept saying, I'll settle down when I'm fully healed. It sounded noble, responsible, even wise. But underneath, he was avoidant. He kept dating, kept chasing sparks. He kept filling his calendar with conversations and dinners. Yet he never let anyone close. Every time intimacy approached, he pulled back. Every time someone leaned in, he created distance. He wasn't waiting for healing. He was avoiding it. Because closeness meant facing himself. Closeness meant dealing with the pain that he carried from the past. And avoidance gave him the illusion of control. Connection without vulnerability. Dating without intimacy. And he stayed in this loop, chasing excitement to fill a void, but never risking the one thing that could actually heal him. Closeness. And that's the myth of readiness. It's not about waiting until you're perfect. It's about hiding behind the idea of not ready, so you don't even have to face intimacy. Avoidance convinces you that distance is safety. But the truth is, distance is just another prison that you're going to put yourself in. Because you'll never feel ready. But you can always be real. And real is the only way closeness can ever happen. Being avoidant, having this idea of keeping people at arm's length, never being vulnerable with someone. In your head, you might think to yourself, I have lots of relationships. I date all kinds of people. Yeah, sure, it doesn't work out. They're not the right people. But in reality, this is why you have to look at yourself. You have to be self-aware. Are you the one that's pushing them away? Are you the one that's keeping them away from getting to know the real you? Something that you need to ask yourself if you are avoidant. If somebody tells you that you're avoidant. If you figure out that you're avoidant. Since healing isn't a fishing line. Yeah, healing is definitely not a fishing line. Since healing isn't a finish line, it's a process. So instead of asking, am I ready? Ask better questions. Questions that reveal how your healing shows up when you connect. Questions that filter who deserves access to you. Now, as I've been asking you questions this whole time, I'm going to ask you a bunch more. And grab a journal or literally like sit with this. Let me say what I need to, let me ask you the question, press pause and think about it. Write it down if you can. What am I healing from? And how does it show up when I date? Healing isn't abstract. It leaves fingerprints. Maybe it's the way you hesitate to trust or the way you rush to prove yourself. Awareness starts by naming the wound and noticing how it echoes in your connections. Next question. What do I need to feel safe while getting to know someone? Safety isn't optional. It's foundational. It is consistency. It's patience. It is someone who respects the silence. Define it now so you don't have to negotiate it later. As in, when you come into a new relationship, these are the standards. This is the minimum for me. This is where we need to be. These are my boundaries. Well, boundaries protect my peace, even when I am attracted to someone. Because attraction can blur judgment. Boundaries are the guardrails that keep you from driving off the cliff. Write them down. Own them. And never, ever apologize for having them. What's the difference between being open and being unguarded? Openness is vulnerability. Unguardedness is vulnerability without protection. One builds intimacy, the other builds chaos. Learn the difference and choose the one that heals. So here's what I want you to carry with you. Healing doesn't make you less. Moving slow doesn't make you weak. Boundaries don't make you cold. They make you clear. They make you safe. They make you whole. Because dating while healing isn't about proving you're ready. It's about proving you're real. And the right person won't demand speed. They won't punish you for your honesty. They won't confuse your boundaries with rejection. They'll recognize your pace as wisdom. They'll see your awareness as a strength. They'll meet you where you are, not where they wish you would be. So stop chasing this myth of readiness. Start practicing the truth of presence, because love doesn't arrive when you think you are perfect. It arrives when you're honest enough to be seen. And just to go back to what I just said, if somebody isn't meeting you on your terms, they're not for you. No hard feelings. They might have qualities you want, qualities you're looking for. But if they're not willing to accept you as you are, just as much as you need to accept them, because this is why dating can be difficult or can be tedious, because we literally need to accept someone as they are, who they are, when they're standing right in front of us, not who they promise they're going to be, and vice versa. They need to do the same with you. And the only way that that can happen is if you can communicate and if you're transparent and honest. That's the only way that someone has like the proper information to say, you know what, I get it where you are. You're still healing from, your past relationships. And you're working on yourself. That's great. and you want to see where this goes. You like me, I like you. You want to see where this goes. I want to see where this goes too. Okay, let's take it slow. Let's do this step by step. Because we can get there. And the thing is that we lean on each other. It can help us both. And I want you to think about these things. Go through them. Because, maybe you're not fully healed, but maybe you're healed enough that you can start getting yourself back out there. Because the thing is, the one commodity we can never get back is time. So if you want to waste time, that's your choice. That could be wasting time thinking that you're not ready, and you might be. That could be wasting time with the wrong person. It's the one thing you'll never get back. So think about that. And I'm not telling you to, if you're truly not ready, that's fine. Don't date. Keep healing, keep doing the things you need to do. But if you can answer the questions that I've asked, maybe it's potentially worth something looking into and trying. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. If in this episode I gave you any sort of clarity, or someone that could listen to this and it might help them out, because I know there's a lot of people out there that have friends that think that they're not ready, or they just avoid dating, even though they complain and that they want somebody, but they just won't put themselves out there. Maybe this is the episode that they need to listen to. They need to see, to help them realize that, maybe not being 100% is okay. And I can get out there. So maybe send it to them. And if you're ready to stop waiting and start living, subscribe. I can't believe I just said that. I mean, listen, it's part of it, right? We're here. If you're enjoying my episodes and things, yeah, subscribe, and you'll get notified of when I post a new episode every Friday morning, or every morning for my shorts. If by any chance you have any questions for me, or you want to look into or buy my books, you can go to joeyfrances.com. That's joeyfrances.com. And there you can send me a message, and there's the links to Amazon to buy my books. That's pretty much it, really. Thank you again if you made it this far. I honestly really, really appreciate you. And I just want to tell you, love doesn't wait for you to be ready. It waits for you to be real. Until next time.